What's good with it? We back again with another video. We're gonna try to produce one video a day until we can set a set schedule. But like I said, studying for finals and stuff. We follow the brownbrother.blogspot.com. You see, I posted one or two new posts on the blog and just kind of detailing my life a little bit more in detail about what's going on. So we're trying to figure out some things. We got some big moves hopefully coming through. If they do come through, um, I wish it were paid moves, but they not. But they definitely moves to produce the brand and to make things. So we working for free, but we're making it work. It ain't always about that. It's just about making balls move, doing it in silence, and then reaping the benefits once the blessing come through. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, let's get into the video real quick. I want to talk about the education and what my problem was with the educational system, particularly when it comes to our black kids. Now you may say I got years here, but you got a little brother, you got a little sister, then you got you yourself. If you still in high school, you still in middle school, this all applies to you. If you in college, this applies to you. Everything that I talk about right here applies to us in some shape, form, or fashion. You know what I'm saying? So listen to what I say is definitely something good. I'm not demanding, but take the time, please listen to what I'm saying. Like, share, subscribe, and please retweet this on Twitter, Instagram, well, a kind of new social media that they got, but I ain't never even heard of probably before. Some new mess, whatever, share it on there. Let's get into a problem with the education system for our black kids or for us or whoever, because I'm still in the educational system right now. I ain't graduated yet, unfortunately, but I'm getting there. Anyway, number one thing I want to talk about is free college. Presidential candidate Bernie Sanders, who I felt was the best guy to lead this country. But anyway, it's not about that. Said he wanted free public education. And I looked into that. I remember I used to watch an episode of this old show. You probably don't even remember, named Andy Griffith. And it talked about an episode where Andy Griffith's son wanted to go to um, college, but he wanted to go out of state. And he said, "Well, yeah, I just go to a state school." And then the main character had relief, an old show back from the 1960s. Don't ask me, but just follow along what I'm saying. Uh, and I read something where it said education used to be free, like going to college used to be free. I said, "What? College used to be free?" And I was like, "Yeah, college used to be free." So I went and did my research and did my due diligence, and I found an article in, I want to say, Time magazine, online, that said college was free in a lot of places on up to the 60s. Now we're gonna, if you already kind of know where I'm going, you can put two and two together. But if you haven't followed on what I'm saying, college was free. Public college, state schools were free for those people who went to that state. And particularly one of the major colleges, I believe it says right here, was UC Berkeley, was free into the 1960s, particularly in 1966, until Ronald Reagan took office and booted, I want to say that says booted the UC Berkeley president because he spoke out against him going against free college, but the quote unquote tuition came up. And it said something about kids in college, you have to pay a certain amount of fees. It was either free or a whole lot cheaper than what it was now to go to a school like that. It's crazy, yo. I heard somewhere where it said that USC is almost going to charge $70,000 for 4 years, or $70,000 for 2 years. It's something like, the rate is crazy. Like, can you imagine paying $70,000? I guess that'd be broken up into per semester, man, or even I guess it'd probably be a little bit, under what, man, probably a little bit under 2 semesters times 8, so you're probably taking about 8 semesters, a little bit under, a little bit over 10,000 per semester, which you gotta be a heck of a lot more than that. So I'm beginning when it say 70,000, I'm beginning it meant 35,000 per semester. Because I know some schools in my neck of the woods who are higher than that. So I don't know what this particular statistic is about that, but it's high. And just imagine paying that, but being able to go to a premier school in a premier state for free is something amazing. But like I said, in 1966, which we will get into that, the correlation between that as well as USC, which is going to be a great transition to my next two things. I heard that the ACT which was established in 1964. Again, you hear in those 60s. If you already know where I'm going with this, we're about to get into it. The ACT was established in 1964. The ACT is the like the collegiate test, the entrance test to basically get into college. You need an ACT or SAT, a good enough score just to go. Again, I'm telling you, it all relates to the 1960s. Now we're going to get into the significance of the 60s. The 60s, the biggest thing that happened was the Civil Rights Movement, hands down. It was the Civil Rights Act that established every man's supposed to be treated equal. Segregation in schools were basically over with, and so forth and so on. So you had all these back to back to back holds, restraints, locks on education, just as African Americans were beginning to be able to partake in the quote unquote mainstream colleges. But first, like I said again, with the ACT being established in the year 64, with the free college no longer existing, particularly at these prestigious schools in the 1960s, and so forth and so on. And like I said again, all these things correlate into the civil rights movement. So you can already see the unfair treatment, particularly if you have free education at a premier school like UC Berkeley. A study came out that said that over 50% of kids who had both parents who were college graduates went to college versus those whose parents did not go to college. And although there's a great number of first generation college students now, back from the 70s and 80s and 90s, even as many negative statistics as they want to throw on black males, the numbers have staggeringly increased for black males going to college and first generation college students. That's great, but you know what that tells me? Two, three generations did not go to school or at least at an appropriate time because, again, their parents went. It's all a domino effect, and that's not even to say that's the blame, but that's at least one explanation into the problem. There is no one problem to solve one solution, but I'm telling you what it is. Now imagine if it was free college. You could do what you wanted, and then you could still work. And you know the material had to have been at least a little better, at least a little easier. Because I heard in 2016 now they got something in one. I got a family who lives in a particular state, and they got something called Common Core, and they saying that they have rewritten the rules about how you're supposed to do a basic math problem, that you got to go through all of these formulas just to get a math problem. They're trying to make school harder for kids. Again, another restriction, another hole, just that things are getting better and so forth and so on. So again, you got the 60 factor, but I'm not gonna stick into the past. I'm gonna keep it moving right on. The ACT. Again, we are in a prime position as young people to seize the opportunity because you had folks who were talking about stuff that went on 20 years ago, but I did the ACT a couple of years back. And I'm gonna tell you as a black male, I feel that the ACT is set up for us and is culturally, I wouldn't say insensitive, but culturally biased. When I took the ACT, I'm gonna tell you what was on the test, and I'll never forget this because as soon as I left at the place, because I had to go to a place I wasn't too familiar with, so I had family to roll with me. And as soon as I got in the car, I said straight up, I said ACT. I said it ain't right, particularly for us as black males. I said, guess what? Several of the questions on the ACT were for the reading portion. I said it had to do with the ACT talked about antebellum times and talked about women with some house coats on and some rollers. Now, what black male know anything about antebellum times? If anything, we're trying to run away from that post-slavery time because it wasn't no good time for us. But particularly for culturally speaking, even for a male speaking. But of course, like I said again, when they describe the character or the story that they told from antebellum times that they picked as one of the stories for African for supposed to be a test that's supposed to be they're supposed to be blind to religion or culture or anything. How are we gonna pass that? So instantly, someone who may not be as motivated, or that may piss them off, or even if just the situation wasn't deemed right or didn't know the answers to it, you can get caught up in the story, not the answers, and get a much lower score because they choose to talk about some mess like that. You can easily talk about computers, everybody knows about that. You can easily talk about social media, everybody knows about that. You can talk about, there's so many things that are trans, as they like to use the word thing like transracial, whatever the word is. There's so many things that transcend regular things and are such broad topics that you choose to talk about something like this and you know that culturally, you try not to, you culturally speaking, there's gonna be a whole group of people who don't want to hear nothing about that. Particular for that, is messed up. Like say again, you talk about the ECT, and and you can talk about certain things, but I'm finna tie the ECT and the score back in. Just hold on. Let me get down to my next one because I'm trying to make the video under 20 minutes. Duke University and Georgia University has beat making classes. Yes, let me tell you that again. The University of Georgia and Duke University, or one or both, have beat making classes. I was watching a documentary on CNN, and I saw these kids. None of them, I don't think there's one African American male in the class. They were making beats and learning how to make music to produce and engineer music. Now, what kind of significance is that? They teach music and so forth and so on in a lot of other schools, but the reason why nobody likes it is because it doesn't do anything. So why is it that you got a school that's teaching that to teach a school like that that's super duper hard to get into, and supposed to be the program is supposed to have been funded by donors, and it wasn't even nothing for real that you got to pay out your tuition. That is an amazing opportunity. But a lot of black males who put their heart, soul into music and everything else, you know how hard some of my bros, how they really rock, how we really rock for some certain kind of music, and who are much more musically talented and better than I am for music, and they doing beat making that's teaching you the music and then teaching you the business behind the music, how to make the music, how to, I guess, copyright and everything. You getting a head start. There were no brothers in that class. I don't even know what the percentage of students that go to Duke University, but it must not be that high because last time I checked, it was a noose on campus, and somebody said it was as a joke, but as very insensitive. I would think I doubt very seriously there would be a noose hanging there by a student at a HBCU. It's not going to happen. So, and it goes back to the significance of USC. How? Because if you pay attention, Dr. Dre donated over $700 million to USC for the music program. And Dr. Boyce Watkins did a video about it, did two videos about it. He's saying that Dr. Dre doesn't really care for him no more because he called him out on that. But you got schools that are starving and struggling, and you could put a beat making. He's the master king of beats. You put a beat making class and so forth and so on inside these smaller schools, and make a Dr. Dre community center of beats or something that's like that. I mean, that sounds crazy, but that $700 million could be used so much better. I'm not trying to tell another man how to spend his money, but I just thought the significance of those two tied into each other. But particularly, you can see what I'm talking about. That a test is open to all people want to talk about house codes in antebellum times, but when a course that's designed for a selected few at a university that has a selected few want to offer these kind of programs that black males will excel at higher rates and come out knowing the business end and come out knowing everything. They're gonna get cheated by the music industry. They can make their own beats and they can find out how to make money, be their own boss, because these companies are not hiring black males. Like I said again, they said it's more likely for a Caucasian male with a convicted record to get hired before a black male. You'll check the statistics at a brother who got several degrees and much more education that I have. Name is Mr. Clint Smith. Great guy. Check him out. He writes down the statistics, and I'm sure he has quoted the sources from those. My next two things is talking about Western Civ instead of Black history. When we talk about Western Civ, you hear about maybe the slave trade, and you may do 1, 2 pages on the Egyptians, but mostly Western Civ, we don't have about anything. Western Civ is culturally insensitive too because you got culturally insensitive, and the fact that Western Civ and American history are so little about certain group of people. It talks broadly about so many other people, but we need some more Eastern history. We need some sub-Saharan African history, and not just slavery, but talking about the minerals there and showing things and not showing kids with cut off t-shirts and for 20 cents a day you can feed these kids. No, we need to show Africa as a whole. There's so much stuff that can be covered when you talk about Western civilization and the inventions and things that came out of these regions, and not just talking about the effects of slavery or what happened to push slavery. So again, you have a narrative that's been told 1,000 times over and over again, or hasn't been told, and then you devalue a whole group of people, and its self-esteem is low, and there's so many issues that come out of just teaching slavery from that standpoint, and they're talking about, oh yeah, all your family was this and that. It's terrible. Like I said again, there's some other people with PhDs and a lot of other knowledge who can come in and explain that, but I just thought that I kind of explain it real quick. Let's keep going down the line. The exit exam. Oh man, this is probably the biggest one that I've been holding off for a minute. But we got two more to talk about, or three more to talk about. But the exit exam was the exam a long time ago. I don't even know if it's still around. Like I said again, it was around when I was like uh, 12, 13, maybe something like that, a little bit younger than that, where in most schools you had to pass an exit exam. And they were saying that the exit exam was unfair and culturally unfair. There was actually some studies that came out. And you can go look at the statistic where it said cultural, the exit exam statistics for minorities, and talk about African American, Hispanics, and a couple other kids that significantly were not able to make it because of the exit exam. And no matter what position you were in, you had to take the exit exam. And the exit exam again was another strategy, another lockdown, another strict chain to try to get you to progress and move on to the next level. The exit exam, I think, has now been fully eradicated and erased in the educational system, but it was something that held back a lot of kids and at least discouraged a lot of kids who probably eventually dropped out because they knew they could not pass their test. It's a shame. Even if you lose one kid to an unfair exam like that, that's one potential that could have changed the world. But again, we moving on and we trying to better the situation and trying to grab those who may fall or may drop out. There's a lot of mentorship and things that can be done that we can change that. So one kid is terrible, but if we can get together and do some things, then we can make it better. Uh, we're gonna keep going on. Like I said again, I'm trying to make the video under 25 seconds. I know it seems like I'm just running through them, but you can slow it down, slow the tempo down on the video a little bit maybe. And maybe if I'm going too slow, I apologize. But we're gonna get right into it again. Diagnosing black boys with ADHD. This is a huge one as well. You can go look at Dr. Umar Johnson. I'm probably gonna leave one or two of his videos in the description below. Who was a principal at a school, who has several degrees in psychology. Like I said again, has a lot more education than I currently have right now, and he'll definitely tell you about them diagnosing black boys with ADHD, which is unfair, unreasonable, putting them inside of these slower classes that's not stimulating their brain, that they're almost saying that they're crazy, that they're giving the black boys meds and medication that the USDA or the Drug Administration has labeled in the same category as cocaine and so forth and so on. That these are actually hardcore drugs that are making these black boys either like zombies or changing their brain cells and rewiring their brains, and it's messing them up, and they're not growing and progressing because they're listed as ADHD when it's not a learning disorder, but it's several factors that can be inside of it. First, not having maybe father in household teaching black boys just this stagnant board, and I was blessed to have a education brought up where it was very active, it was very interactive, one-on-one discussions, talking, how to be a man, this and that and that, and it helped. And then in the middle of the day, you can go out there and go play ball and PE and stuff. I heard they're taking PE out of school now or whatever. And then you got someone who wants to sit up there 6 hours, you 7, 8, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, no guidance, or even if you do got guidance, they tell you want to sit up there 7, 8 hours. It's a lot of kids who can't do it. So they diagnose them with ADHD. Well, if you go look at the statistics from ADHD, it didn't happen. ADHD was nothing that a good, belt or switch can fix. You hear several comedians make that joke, but it's being honest, you didn't hear nothing about that back then, so they messing up. I'm gonna leave one or two videos down there, and he's an expert on learning disorders, supposedly quote unquote learning disorders in America for black males. They don't want to talk about mercury in the food. There's a direct link into the learning rates in black males. A great man from a great family exposed this a long time ago, and it was so big that Minister Farrakhan, as well as a man that you may not heard of, but JFK, which is one of the Kennedys. I don't know. I guess it's one of his sons or his nephews. He's a politician that I jumped on, and they did a study with their own money and found that there's a direct link to mercury from when we're a baby that only affects black males. Let me say that again. Let me slow down on that part if I don't slow down any other part in this whole video. When you're a child, you're born, the doctor and the nurses or whoever didn't get you. They shoot you up with all these vaccines and all this so forth and so on. It wasn't until like the 60s, 70s, 80s when hospitals were integrated that they started making this specific mercury-based serum for kids, and that you can find these mercury levels in even some of the food that directly affected black males out of all the races, out of all the groups, out of all anybody on planet Earth, out of dogs, cats, any species on planet Earth. They found a specific quote unquote serum that coincidentally, let me say that again, that coincidentally only affects black males, and that it does not, I don't think it shrinks the brain cells, but it slowly kills off the brain cells. And that mercury serum only affects black males. Now, what kind of mess is that? I'm gonna leave that video in the link below. You may have to go find it, search a little bit harder for it, because I probably can only find the shorter version of it, but it's a longer version where they detail it. And when you hear about it, man, I'm telling you, it is I don't even know, it's crazy. It's almost like some of that mustard gas or Tuskegee experiment type stuff. It's crazy, you know. And last but not least, teaching foreign math. I find that, like I said again, because of the mercury in the food, because of the ADHD, because of the way that the classes are set up, because of everything, they're teaching foreign math. I remember going to the gym to go play ball, the best thing that ever happened to me, ever probably, when it comes to my debate and how to help me in the field. That's why I say be aware of your situation, be aware of your environment, because you can learn some things just by opening up your eyes, taking a deep breath, and observing life. And I went to go play ball one day, and in the hallway were all these faces of all like these foreign French dudes and something like back from like Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson days, and maybe a little bit earlier than that. They dudes just look weird, like they would cut off cardboard on their names with each and everything, names that when I was younger I couldn't even pronounce. So I went and read each and every one of them, and then when I came, I went and got my mother and brought her back. I said, you know, who are these? I was a little bit younger back then. I didn't know who they were. So it was just interesting because at the gym we come from, you very seldom see. I'm being honest. You're not gonna see. You're not gonna see no Frenchmen or nothing with the nice collars and the tucked in and all that, and the comb long hair and all that, like back from the 15th, 16th century. You may see a couple of portraits or posters of LeBron. I think AI Allen Iverson playing back then, but I asked him who these were, and then when he read the stuff that they were supposed to have been the founders of math, of chemistry, of algebra, of pre-calculus, of trigonometry, of this and that and that and that. And then when you go back and you look at them things right here, it's foreign. Let me say that again. It's foreign. These men spoke ancient Greek, ancient Latin. So we don't have to be forced to learn ancient Greek and ancient Latin just to pass a class or pass a math course. Why we have to learn foreign math? We need to learn add, subtraction, multiplication, division. We need to learn the what's the primitives, which is the parentheses, exponents, division, multiplication, add, and subtraction. We need to learn all this. We need to learn for, we need to learn factoring, and so forth and so on. But when you get into some fx and the function of y to the slope of 3m. What? Why are we learning this? It should be optional. If a brother does want to go higher in math and say he want to be an astronaut or an engineer, then by all means he needs to learn it. But if the brother just want to go inside there and get a degree, you see what I'm saying, and whatever it may be, then why we have to learn this? Even if you're trying to get a trade in air conditioning, I believe you still gotta learn this. A lot of us stop right here in high school and college because after a while it doesn't make any sense to try to learn this stuff. We like gibberish. So again, why we learn this stuff, I can't tell you. Those are my problems with education in the community. If we can turn it around, make education more culturally specific, if we can turn around and make things more closely connected to the culture and the swag and the essence of ever being more African American, then I believe the stuff will be amazing. I heard that Diddy's opening up a school and that he's going to be involved with the curriculum, and a lot of people are going to be involved with the curriculum because you know what it's like to come from that culture in that area. But not everybody is going to be blessed to go to a charter school or a school that's culturally sound. So you got to change the things for yourself. That's why I heard there's over 100,000 black families that are now homeschooling now, and that they're saying that the grade averages of the homeschools are just as good, if not better, than the regular high schools, and that they're excelling more in college because you can break down this stuff and you can figure this stuff out. Because all the stuff that they got on this list right here that I just gave you, it's all been used to try to discourage and so forth and so on. And then if it's not, it's unfair practices. But that's it. I just wanted to make this video. Just kind of a quick rant about it. This coming from a college student. I don't have nothing against education. I say go get your college degree. It kind of hurts me sometimes when they say, okay, yeah, don't get a college education, but I believe you do need one because it does set you apart, and you do have a more likely chance to get a job. But like Mr. Clint Smith would tell you, you've seen how the statistics are, but it can't help but to try. That's all you can do is try. And at the very least, you had some good times with some good people and networked in college that you may be able to get together and do some great things. A lot of black startups and a lot of companies I hear, about coming from networking and figuring out things like that. So it may be a great thing. So I have nothing against it. Get your education. That's the number one thing. Learn as much as you can. Books, textbooks, anything. Learn as much as you can. But these are issues that need to be fixed, and if they're not, you seen you seen what was already going on. That's it. Peace.